What's up, guys? So, today we'll be discussing an important topic. It's about how to start solo traveling in India. So, this is something that a lot of people have a question about, like how they should go about planning a solo backpacking trip or a solo trip. And when you're planning a trip in India, it is not at all difficult because as of 2024, 4G network has reached all over India. So, no matter where you go, you will get network. In some places it might be the Geo works better, in some places it might be Airtel. So if you're traveling solo, my personal recommendation is take a combination of both. Have one as postpaid and one as prepaid, and you will have network everywhere wherever you travel if you don't get Wi-Fi everywhere. So moving on beyond the network part, the step 0 that I would suggest when you're planning on going on your starting your journey as a solo traveler is to be mentally prepared. So before you even start deciding on your destination, you should in your head mentally be prepared to embark on the journey alone. And traveling solo is more of a mind game than anything else. It's like mind over the journey. It's easy, it's extremely easy to say that I want to travel solo, but when you really have to embark on your first trip solo, it's going to be a lot of butterflies in the stomach. So the best way I would suggest to get over these butterflies in your stomach and to stop worrying about the whole solo travel scary part, that you might get robbed, somebody might harm you, you might get kidnapped. In the case of a girl, it might be some kind of sexual harassment or even worse. So some of the tips that I would recommend of how to go about pre-planning and mentally conditioning yourself is: number 1 is start eating alone. And why eating alone? Because most of us are not used to eating alone. And when I'm saying eating alone, I don't mean by sitting on the same table with your family members and not talking. I'm talking about going out to a restaurant or a cafe and just sitting and ordering a coffee or having a burger or even having a sandwich on your own. And that doesn't mean you get done with office, you come down to the pani puri stall, the sandwich vendor outside your office complex, and you're going to have something over there and say that is eating alone. No, that's not eating alone. Eating alone is about going to a proper place like a Starbucks or a CCD, some place where you can actually sit down and you have somebody waiting on you so you can place your order. And why this is important? Because if you can't eat alone, if you are struggling, and in the whole process while you're eating and waiting for your order, if you are not comfortable, then you need to condition yourself even more. So what would be the next step? The next most difficult thing that a lot of people would find challenging is going to the movies alone. Yes, it is. So the next step after eating alone, I would suggest, is go to the movie alone. Go and just try watching a movie alone, because anyways in the movie theater you don't have to talk to anybody. But just going alone will just, I'm not saying it'll abolish all your fear, but it'll just get you maybe a wee bit stronger. So that's number 2. And the third is the simplest thing that you can do. Over the weekend, just pack a day pack and just travel around the city that you are in. Use the public transportation. Take the bus, take the metro, take the train. Do not take your car. Do not take your bike. Do not even go cycling. Just take the public transport and take this journey as a challenge. Even though it's a city that you know and you've lived up and you've grown up in, go to a place that you have never been to, provided that it's a safe place. And before you go there, just research a bit about it, about the place, what's there to be done over there. And there will be something, either a temple to visit or a church or a mosque, something religious, or a restaurant which is famous, or a cafe, or there might be a park, or there might be a neighborhood which has a history to it. So go visit that place, see how it feels, and see how it is to experience the entire thing on your own without anybody. Even though it's your own city, just go alone and experience the part of being all by yourself when you're traveling. So this, I would term it as like a T20 version of solo travel, where you're just going and exploring your own city. So once you have done these 3 things, and if you really enjoy it and you crave for something more, then you can embark on going for a solo trip. But when you're now going to jump from a 1-day solo experience around your city to, say, something longer, I would personally recommend go for something that is a weekend gig to start with. A weekend gig could be a 1-night thing, or a 2 nights, or even a 3 nights over the long weekend. But don't go for something which is like a 10-day trip all by yourself, because that's when it gets slightly complicated for your first adventure to be all alone. because not everybody is comfortable traveling that long. You might make a lot of mistakes in terms of your planning for your destination, your budgeting. Most probably everybody gets the budgeting wrong because they overspend, or they end up carrying less amount of money, and that becomes a big hassle. So personally, look for a weekend trip. A weekend trip ideally that I would recommend is 2 nights 3 days, because in 2 nights 3 days you have enough of time to spend 2 nights in the hotel room alone, or 2 nights in the place that you're staying in, a homestay or whatever you have booked. And plus you have 2 entire days where you can explore the region that you're going to. So if you're a beach person, pick a beach destination. A super beach destination that I would recommend to travel solo to is Gokarna, because it's in a nutshell. You can walk everywhere. It has a very good vibe. Most people would think that Goa is a better option, but honestly Goa is expensive and you need some kind of transportation to move around Goa, and Goa is too vast a place to be done as your first solo trip. If your first solo trip, go to Gokarna, you will have the time of your life. You can stay in the temple town or you can stay in Kudli. I would personally recommend, for a first time traveler, stay either in Kudli or the temple town. Don't stay anywhere else because it'll get complicated. If you're someone who loves the mountains and you're looking for a short gig from the north side of India, personally go to Kasol. Kasol is a place where you will definitely find your calling as a solo backpacker. There's plenty to be done just by going to Kasol and Tosh, for instance. You will fall in love with the place, just chilling by the riverside, eating momos, or even having something good to eat in the cafes. It's a place for solo travelers because everything is affordable. But don't go there on the weekend because things are very costly in both these places on the weekends. So try to go over the midweek. So I would suggest is like leaving on a Sunday, so that you can reach there on a Monday, Tuesday, and things are not as expensive as on the weekends. If you go on the weekends, you will just find it really annoying to be a solo traveler in these places over the weekend because they are extremely commercial and too many people out there. So concluding this entire video, my personal recommendation finally is that if you're planning your first solo backpacking trip, go to a place which is meant for solo travelers. Don't go to a place which is unknown for solo travelers. For example, if you go to Kasol, wow, you will find a lot of solo travelers. You will meet like-minded people and it will be light on the pocket. But at the same time, if you decide to, for example, go to say Delhi as a solo traveler, you're going to spend a lot of money because hotels are costly. Transportation, yeah, you'll get the metro to move around, but everything else other than your transport to the metro is going to be costly and difficult and expensive. Likewise for any other commercial city. So the best thing is go to a place which is frequented by solo travelers. We have already done a video in the section. You can go to the playlist and check it out, for which are the 10 best places for solo travelers on their first trip to be heading to. Watch that video and get a gauge of what it is. If you need more information, you can go to our website tlow.in, and we have tons of blogs covering specifically only for solo travelers. Remember, we have been doing this as solo backpackers since the year 2012. So whatever is in the blog has been there since before 4G has even come and before solo travel was the norm in India. So keep this video as your motivational bucket list to be going there. We'll be following it up with multiple more episodes of what exactly you need to do and how you should be planning and going about as a solo traveler. Till then, stay tuned.